All right, time for another DraftPhysics.com, debatephysics.com also. So we actually had a debate, but unfortunately they wouldn't debate the subject. So, that was the impossible part, is to have them actually debate the quality and character of the evidence, but they won't do any of that. So, yes, it was sort of a waste of time. But you always learn something. And I learned that, you know, the science defenders are a pretty ugly class of moron. And they're just droning, Borgish little monsters that are just spouting what the authority says. They obviously haven't thought about any of it. They can't do any thinking, reasoning, logic. This is all escapes them. So anyway, I might as well read some comments. I decided I'm going to just play through the video. I'll probably not bother with the lensing subject just because it isn't that interesting. It's obviously very technical about the shape of lenses and how the light can actually go someplace, and so they can't follow along. There's just no hope they can get it. you know. But whatever. I mean, it made the points that are kind of obvious that strong gravity, you have to have strong gravity to bend light. Strong gravity is going to be spherical. The images don't show any precision whatsoever. It's obviously defects created by something else. You can't lens a giant galaxy. It's just not theoretically possible. But whatever. Okay, but let's do this other crap instead. I will play the kinetic energy part because that was just such an evasion of every single point made. They just evade, evade, evade. So, we'll read comments. Ought to be entertaining before. So this will be the pre-show. These people are so pathetic. I just want these people to be outed as the assholes they are. Okay, that this is why science fails. This is why intelligence in humans is a waste, is because they're so dishonest and they can't really deal with anything called a real argument. They're just religious fanatics defending a dogma and nothing else. They can't do anything else. They're just bandwagon riders playing their banjos and eating their cheese doodles. All right, there you have it. In his opinion, it's an absolute fact. Enough said. So it had nothing to do with my opinion. I pointed out the lever argument. I pointed out the ballistic pendulum argument. I pointed out the car crashes. I pointed out the scale argument. I pointed out the rolling object argument. So you are just a pathetic liar, Paul Hudson. All right, so the guy. Let's see. I love it when they say I'm not an imbecile. When did I say that? Okay, well, anyway, who else said that on the Toon Show recently? Whatever. So, great physics argument. Boy, you sure did beat me the shit there, didn't you? Let's see what the guy is. It's a drinker, obviously. Okay. So apparently he makes videos of whales. Let's see. Camera on the moon. Low level. Oh, look. Yeah, fascinating fellow. Let's see. He's got a print that this will be a reality in my lifetime. Europa. So he thinks he's going to Europa. Okay. Yeah, good luck, retard. Oh. Okay, well, anyway. Yuck. So maybe I'll go make fun of him later. Alright, so curious with the hijababa. Cursed with blah 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 blah. Okay. Gary is ignorant of the fact that momentum is conserved, but kinetic energy is not always conserved. So, I mean, what what's the point? What's the point of talking about energy in any other context of saying it's either conserved or it's not? All right, now it's just, in my opinion, that's just nonsense. I clearly understand that kinetic energy isn't conserved because it isn't real. It's a fable. It's nonsense. There is no evidence of it. It fails every single test. All right, the concept of inelastic collisions eludes him. No, the concept of elastic collisions is the one that is the obvious giveaway. The inelastic ones there's not a problem with. It's the elastic ones that are the problem. When you combine the momentums, you don't claim there's more momentum. In the elastic case, you sit there and the super elastic. Okay, they always apply a spring. You're claiming you can make free momentum and it doesn't matter. Retard. Okay, this is one of these assholes who has to type more than one comment. You know, they can't take their appropriate amount of space. No, they have to keep typing. Look at me, look at me, look at me. All right, Gary should just change his surname to, I don't even know what this is, Babanga, and be done with it. He's laughing at his own joke. Oh, God. God, do I wish I could block these assholes here. Anyway, this is the most exemplary example of Dunn-Kruger. Boy, every single time they got to pull that little bullshit out like, you know, they're authorities. You know, Dunn-Kruger authorities. Hilarious. I've witnessed so far, not quite Terrence Howard, but very, very close. Yeah, I don't think he has a working simulation of charge. So again, they didn't deal with a single argument made in the frickin' debate. Not a single argument debunked in any way whatsoever. All right, the Eddington experiment was never repeated successfully. That is, you know, without there being some question about being sufficiently accurate. So every one of the experiments, if you read the papers, the guys admit, well, we didn't really exceed the margin of error. Just a fact, okay? You want to claim there's some exemplary eclipse out there paper? Go ahead and direct me to the exemplary paper. So go find a peer-reviewed paper asserting a perfect Eddington duplication experiment. A quick Google search will not only tell you otherwise, so it won't do that. That's just a lie by user blah, blah, blah. But it will reference several specific examples. And no, it won't, because they don't exist. All right, and apply by himself. So he replies to his own comments, as you mentioned. So he didn't mention anything. All he said was that he compiled the data from a bunch of unedited journal papers. Okay, so they're not published in an edited journal, you know, a reviewed journal. I mean, so, you know, you're such hypocrites. You have this standard that I have to submit my papers to an edited journal, but you don't. All right. Hope the quality of the debate makes up for the belated Tuesday. Yeah, well, you're just a waste of time. The debate already happened by the time you commented. Anyway. Please, Gary, you're talking a lot. Yeah, that's the whole point. Okay. So this is whatever this is, Terzi. All right. That's oxygen a real person could use. Oh, please. So it's an oh, please is one word. Stop talking. You're wasting oxygen. Get what you deserve is all I can say. So I hope with every bit of the fiber of my being, okay, that you are fortunate enough to get exactly what you've earned. Life like, oh, this is just a waste of, you know, whatever this crap is. And then it brings up Emendum for no good reason whatsoever. It's a physics argument, retard. All right, I'm not sure Gary has heard of rocket fuel yet. So their argument is that there's no such thing, okay? The fact that the rocket gets lighter as you use the fuel somehow proves the energy of the thrust isn't measured as mass and velocity. That somehow there's some other measurement that's rational. And there really isn't. Okay, you can claim the gasoline has 5 million joules because I decided that the thrust was 5 million joules because I squared the velocity. Well, that's why I gave the analogy, the metaphor of a spacecraft in space, so you couldn't play any of those games. And it's just an absolute fact. It's an absolute fact. So I'm just saying they're mocking absolute facts. It's just an absolute fact that if I'm in space and I have the choice to throw something heavy or light, I'm not going to get any benefit by throwing the light thing. I have to use the same, whatever energy I'm using, it's just mass and velocity. There's no squared function in space. You cannot use any notion that I'm going to calculate how many joules went out of the ship. That won't change anything. More joules, more fuel. Moron. Do you get it? More joules, more fuel, moron. Oh, God damn, what an idiot. All right. Fuel, yet besides maybe a reference to high alcoholic content, we are getting 40x the fuel efficiency, and that means more power. So it's just absolute nonsense. The efficiency is based on your velocity. The faster you go through gravity, the less gravity you have to fight. I mean, are you really this stupid? Well, I shouldn't bother asking the question, right? You really are that stupid. You don't realize that if I fought gravity, if I decided to launch a spaceship and just take my time, going, 300 miles an hour, and just swirled my way up to space, I would use 1,000,000 times more fuel. Because I would be in the gravity a lot longer. God, you people are just so fucking dumb and dishonest. More energy than before from the same shit. We were just pouring gasoline away before. Now it's all the man-made, invented improvements on nature and God, whatever that means, and we live as an easy life. What does this have to do with anything? Oh, that's right. It has nothing to do with this. Oh, look at all these comments with this one butthole. Oh, disgusting. See, Gary is now a physicist from the 1700s. Well, I'd rather be that than you. Because you're an asshole, an idiot, and a moron. He didn't get up to speed on the 21st century, okay, of lies and made-up crap. Double slit experiments where the photon splits in two in singularities and then entangles itself and then doesn't get outed. Oh, what a bunch of crap. Okay, no, he got up to speed with Nathan Thompson. See, they know all of these retards that somebody else is supposed to know who they are. Oh, just no point in that either. I'll just compare you to what? SpongeBob? Okay, then I'm happy again that Gary Dose Gary, whatever that is, it's not peer review. Yeah, there are. So, okay, link to them. What's the big job? Why is it so difficult for you to link to these great experiments? But they ain't from journals I read. That's not my problem. So this is more crap. See, that's why we can't trust peer review, laughing my ass off, if that isn't what he said next. I don't have any respect for peer review. I'm just making the point, okay, that you can't just claim the eclipse saw something, okay? You have to be able to share your data. You have to be able to show that you actually did what you claim you did, all right? And that amateur asshole didn't do that at all. He has a 3-inch telescope. He has a blurry image of a tiny piece of the sky. Eddington had at least 1,000 stars on his glass slides, okay? So at least he had even with the crappy 10% of his data quality, he had a hell of a lot better data than this moron amateur had. God, you people are so dumb. I am disappointed you just let him say that when actually bettered me with, what is this? Saying, well, okay, now we go on, whatever this is. Gary must have felt diminished. Well, you're diminished? I don't know. Yeah, no. I expect a rebuttal, whatever this means. But it's all tossed, so yeah, that's a good way to deal with him, whatever that even means. So he's somehow disappointed that they didn't make their great argument. Are you sure he's not a flurf? So you're all flurfernutters. This is just such bullshit. You certainly treat science. So yeah, I'm the one treating it badly. I'm saying let's find the evidence. Let's make the evidence. Let's do the experiments. I really am saying to myself, I really should just do it for cartoon fun, right? I mean, drop a hunk of clay from, let's say, 2 inches, a 4 mass hunk of clay, and then drop a 1 hunk of clay from whatever 8 inches, and see what it does to this scale, okay? Because I know there's no chance, okay, that the 1 mass going 2 velocity has any chance of equaling the 4 mass going 1. And you nutters, right? And you haven't done that experiment. So in 350 years since the guy made the claim, you never bothered to test it. Not a single one of you science lovers or you science people decided, well, maybe we ought to test and see if that crap is true. Amazing. All right. Yeah, and you're the science defenders. Look at all these comments by this turd. I'm not about whatever this is, the timeline. I just heard Gary say the most exquisite thing. I researched it and I'm up to date, and I'll just burst out laughter. So this isn't an argument. No way he's up to date or even in this century. I can't wait for this, whatever that even means. Yes, Gary, we're all rubber and you're glue. I'm just saying, look, all you have is insults. You don't have physics arguments. You think you assholes are going to... What do you think you're going to look like in hindsight, especially when you're wrong and you're proven wrong? You're going to look like the most immature waste of human neurons possible. That this is such an insult to thought and the process of learning on this planet. The human race is striving to understand the world they live in, and this is your fucking attitude. And you call me, he's such a child. No, I'm not the one who started it, you fucking asswipe. Oh, fucking amazing bullshit. Let's see, and then get ways. Oh, this anti-natalist shit. Fucking waste of time. You see, they can't even stay on the subject. The subject's physics, retard. You don't get that? Oh, amazing. Witsit at least has the word salad. He has nothing. I don't know. Witsit. CC, look at this. I'm just not going to read any more of his comments. I mean, I can't believe somebody would tolerate some asshole who posts 13 comments on one video. I mean, what a fucking ego kook. All right, feeding ravens. Let's see. Feeding ravens. Jesus. When do you know that units are fundamental? So again, it doesn't matter. Units really don't matter. We could say miles per hour, and as long as we're measuring all the things in miles per hour, it works fine. So as long as you're using the same units for the things you're comparing, it doesn't matter whether you call them 5 of this bottle, 5 bottles. It doesn't matter what you're using. So this is so fucking, trivial nonsense. For the correctness of your calculations, then it's clear that they will never understand anything. So the fact that they can't figure out that I don't go 60 miles per hour. I don't get in my car and say, okay, I'm going to go 60 miles per hour. I'll never say that. I'll never think that, because I know it's 60 miles per 1 hour is my rate of velocity. It's not 60 miles per any number of hours. It's 1 hour. And it's 9.8 meters per 1 second per 1 second. Moron. All right, first thing you do in school is check whether the correct units come out of your calculation. Only then you can start crunching the numbers. So again, Newton said change in your momentum, no units, over change in time equals force. No sign of a unit anywhere. All right, Gary has zero idea about form, laws. I know I'm rational, so I know which ones work and which ones completely make up crap that isn't proven by a single experiment. Has obviously never applied physics in his life, so whatever, just nonsense talk. And so this is obviously not a counter argument. And so is totally confused. Well, obviously I'm not confused. I'm making assertions, and they're assertions you can't counter with an argument. So there's 12 videos on the debate channel. explaining all the different ways kinetic energy fails to be rational. And I'm just saying, go ahead, find a sentence in those videos that you can debunk. And I'm claiming you can't. Therefore, he can spew out any numbers. They have no value. So I'm not the one spewing out numbers. I didn't do formulas. I showed physical experiments, levers, cars, scales, water. I showed real experiments. You showed nothing. Who knows whether it matters or sheep units or volts or seconds. So, it's completely arbitrary. A meter is an arbitrary designation. We could all have the standard 1 inch and we just change all the formulas to match 1 inch. I mean, it's just nonsense. Let's see. I'm smarter than all the scientists. So that's not my assertion that I'm smarter. I'm more honest and I'm not a dupe. So you have to show me. I have to see it before I believe it. Okay, I'm not a religious kook who just accepts burning bush stories and all that nonsense. You have to be able to show me something. If you can't show it, then you better shut the fuck up. So if you're going to tell me it takes 25 times the fuel to make something go 5 times as fast, I'm going to say, fuck you, you're an idiot. Because I've found out the truth. I have all the evidence you need to obey me. So again, it's not, you're the ones asserting that I must believe what you believe or I'm unreasonable. I'm somehow an idiot and a retard because I don't believe in your fake, phony, unevidenced bullshit. Here's the evidence, trust me. That's all you're doing. That's all you're providing. You've provided nothing. No counter argument to a single thing I said. Fucking asshole. At a glance, I thought he was from Daft Physics. So, yeah, that's a really great. So, this is Mick Cartoon, okay? And I'll just call other people fat and stupid because, yeah, that's as high-minded as you can be, yeah. Which actually would make more sense. So, that's just too fucking brilliant. Me too. So, that's the guy, the fat, ugly, stupid-looking moron, okay? Your wife's a piece of shit too, fucker. I could never get drunk enough. So anyway, if I were Gary, I would not wait to win the Nobel Prize in Physics. Look, the asshole said I automatically already won it. Okay, so there's no problem. I could just take that quote and play it over and over again. I win. All right, in the near future, how can one overestimate one's abilities in a specialist field so fundamentally? So what's specialist field about it? It's the most elemental part of physics there is, energy. And you have a problem. You can't figure out what it is. Newton explained it, and they all said it was conservational. That is, the energy just moves from object to object. Heavy things need more energy, light things need less energy. It's not complicated at all. Momentum works perfectly. It had the symmetry of the whole thing made so much sense, and you lunatics, because a religious kook told you so, you decided to make a religion out of energy. Monads and solitons. That's what this moron believed in, okay? And so, again, the history's the history. You idiots won't read the history, but go look it up. Vis Visa. It's 100-year controversy. Okay, and the fact is, every single argument that was made was silly and stupid from both sides. Neither side knew how to argue the subject. Oh, amazing. That is something I will never understand about these guys. Yeah, well, it's very hard to understand why. Again, it's what's the point of calling humans intelligent when they have no integrity and no honesty? Your duplicity is so fucking obvious. You demand something from me you won't produce, which is evidence. I get the feeling Gary tried out for one of the mad scientists or Mystery Science Theater 3000. Gee, that's another. At the end of the audition, the producers looked at him and said, "Oh, you're serious?" So I wonder what this asshole looks like. Dark Star 4000. Oh, he's too much of a coward to show himself. And he has a butler for an icon. Bending over. So I guess he likes it in the ass. Oh, there's Terrace again. Wow, what a waste of, man, what a fucking psychopath. 20 comments on one video. Jeez, that's just insta-block kind of crap. Dude, I got real mad for a nicotine user. Whatever that means. More from the same moron. I don't think I'll ever see one of these anywhere where they actually just said, nah, nah. So I actually made physics arguments and pointed out clear contradictions created by the theory. The fact that it makes free energy. That you can't do that. Oh, geez, amazing. The entire time. Well, my brain hurts. I don't think you've misidentified the location of the pain. It's obviously in your ass. E equals mc squared. Irrelevant nonsense, frankly. Only apples either using an obsolete definition of mass, relativistic mass, as opposed to rest mass, or for zero momentum. So obviously, I don't think Einstein improved anyone's understanding when it comes to E equals mc squared or relativity. They're just made up nonsense. I mean, E equals mc squared is just an approximation. You know, he's just squaring the speed of light, which is an insane number. And to say that every single piece of space has that much energy, in my opinion, is ludicrous. But whatever. In general, you should use the energy-momentum relation instead. Oh, this guy's just going to waste everybody's time. See what the commenters to him said. Being generous to Gary here, it isn't entirely wrong because the formula for momentum he learned from Newtonian mechanics, in fact, makes no sense for massless particles. So they're talking about massless particles that have momentum. Oh, it's just so priceless. You know, the whole idea of talking about something that conveys momentum and yet it has no mass. I mean, it's just as dumb could be. I mean, I shouldn't even have to counter-argue something this fucking stupid. The massless particle that has momentum. I mean, god damn it. All right, the meters per second. So you think that I should say 60 miles per hour if I want to be precise. Skit was an Abbott and Costello worthy. Yeah, it really is. And so, you know, it just makes a mockery of the whole idea of the concept because clearly the unit is 1 unit. It's 60 miles per 1 hour. That's how fast you go. You don't go 60 miles per hours. And you certainly don't go 60 miles per hour squared. All right, the mouse elephant scale thing I will have to look into over breakfast, as he may even be right. Well, I'm absolutely right in the fact that physics, again, they couldn't have cared less to even think about it and say, what is our actual momentum into the Earth? Because that's what the scale is measuring. It's measuring how much momentum you're pushing into the Earth. That's what the weight is. And that momentum means that it's your mass times the velocity. So in a sense, it's telling you how fast you're pushing into the Earth, and you're pushing at 1 mile an hour. That's what it turns out to be. It's basically 1 centimeter. Okay, so 1 centimeter will give double your weight. So if you drop something from 1 centimeter, it'll weigh twice as much. So obviously, if you do the calculation, it ends up being some portion of like 2 millimeters or something is essentially what this equals. So when you have a weight on the scale, it's basically just 1 mile an hour. And if I turn it sideways, you'll go 1 mile an hour. Now, the fact that your physicists aren't even curious, that not a single other scientist in the history of science has thought about the question, well, how much velocity is that equal? How much momentum does this weight equal? And so you're going to insult me when none of you even thought about it. Didn't even occur to you. Fuck you. All right, let's see. He and Terrence Howard, whatever this, could discuss what $1 times $1 is. So yes, I will talk about momentum as currency because it's basically that simple. If I have a certain amount of force, momentum, fueling me, I can give it away to something else. And if I give it away, if I give them 20, then I lose 20. It's that simple. It's currency. Energy is the currency that runs the universe. Moron. So this is 11th the chimp. 11 the chimp. Something like that. 11th the chimp. Well, you are a fucking jackass. That's what you are. What's up with the jingoistic pro-military crap? Yeah, that is pretty grotesque. Yet another uneducated troglodyte who pretends to be smarter and know more about physics than actual physicists. And again, the arguments are so open for being debunked. And if you can actually make a counter argument, I'll tattoo it on my forehead. If you can actually make one that actually convinces me that you have any hope of making showing me real evidence. So go ahead. I mean, the whole conversation's over as soon as you prove it takes 25 times the fuel to make something go 5 times as fast. So just prove it. Oh, it's so fucking lame. After 2 hours of showing he has no idea how any of this works, well, I have enough of an idea that I can perfectly simulate charge in fewer notes than anybody else can do it. Gary asked people to debate him. I asked them to debunk me with an actual argument that contains evidence. Okay, why would anyone debate him other than just to make him wig out? Oh, never mind. So you're all just cowards, pathetic cowards. I mean, I make the videos 5 minutes long because you have no attention span, and you still can't take the words and the sentences and then say that sentence is incorrect. You can't do it. You pathetic piece of shit. Ricardo Berg. Yeah, Duberg. All right, so boss noise. Oh, nose. Yeah, boss knows. Anyway, is this dude... So what should I say? Dude. Yeah, okay. I wonder this boy. What do you got to say, boy? Using a soda can as a pipe. I don't know. So he thought this is a soda can? I don't know. Bro, you're clearly not. So he says bro again? No, it's dude and bro. So he included both of the pejorative superiority words. Yeah, you're so superior. Okay. You're clearly not still in high school. No wonder he sounds a bit off in the brain department. Har har. Look at him. He's got his own laughing icons. He laughs at his own jokes. What a pathetic hunk of shit you are. No icon, no nothing. Just a fake picture. Right. Just another shit talker with no accountability. Let's see what the one reply was. 5 years ago, Gary was the lead antinatalist in America on YouTube. I was never really an antinatalist. I was always an ethicist, but whatever. That argument did start right from the beginning. A fellow called Derived Energy was also talking antinatalism, and as soon as I found out he didn't give a fuck about animals, I separated myself from his philosophy. Why does no one know this? How can he go from antinatalism to physics, for fuck's sake? So that's just amazing. You can't somehow make an argument from a political position or an ideological position. You can't have a philosophical position and do physics. So no physicists ever vote in elections because they can't handle it somehow. Oh, God, you're so pathetic. It's that same asshole with the 25 comments. Jesus, what a fucking piece of shit. Maybe I'm finally getting old, but if I was trying to present myself as a learned physicist, that's not how I'm trying to present myself. I'm presenting myself as what I am, a dissident, somebody who finds your pompous nonsense obnoxious and disgusting. Your religious kooks preaching to little children, your child molesters. You don't have any evidence for this crap. You talk about all this fucking wooey baby talk. It's worse than religion, frankly. It's such an incoherent God you've created. Your wooicles and your, there's 4 million universes and blah, blah, blah. It's all baby talk. and convince and everybody he had figured out something really mind-blowing. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the fact that I didn't figure out anything except I took shit out of my brain. So you morons have left shit in your brains. Crap that was invented by assholes, and you've left it in your brain. It's not my fault you're still religious fucktards. Again, Leibniz was a religious kook. He didn't believe in MV squared for any other reason than he wanted to give God power and meaning. I probably could wait an hour to start chefing on my bowl of weed. Oh, jeez. Pothead. Fuck. Amazing. All great scientists have ridiculed and ignored. I'm ridiculed and ignored, therefore I'm a great scientist. So what does that even mean? I mean, it's a pretty dismal state of affairs, right? That a lot of good scientists were harassed even to death. Yeah, that is pretty. It's a pretty shameful fact. They actually burned people at the stake, moron. Oh, fuck. All right, 4 to 5 years ago, Gary was telling people we all should stop procreating. So he can't stay on the subject. Again, so this is his 49th comment. I'm a scientist too. So again, they really think that somehow science shouldn't be open. So Benjamin Franklin shouldn't have done any science. Faraday shouldn't have done any science because they weren't in some elite class that had the proper education. I mean, what a pile of shit. When do we expect Gary's earth-shattering paper in American Journal of Physics? Okay, let's see. Let's guess on the number. 10 years? I'll probably be dead, frankly, by the time it happens. But when it happens, the gum psycho old mechanic, when it does happen, I hope they piss on your grave. So that's what I'm asking the future, when they feel so guilty about how poorly you assholes treated these arguments. They're real physics arguments. You're ignoring them. You're pretending they don't exist. And really, your graves should be literally pissed on, okay? Remove the markers and put a big pile of shit representing what a lousy, cruddy human beings you were. You couldn't listen to an argument, you couldn't pay attention to it, and you certainly couldn't counter it. And all you did was babble your religious dogma. You fucking pathetic hunks of crap. Alright, so that's comments for today. There probably will be lots more, but whatever. We'll get to those some other time. Maybe I'll play some of the video. Yeah, he did this shit where he read the crap comments later in the video, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing that for, retard? I mean, amazing. So let's start here and see if we're off the lensing subject. Can't hear it. Why? That is strange. Alright, I have to fix that. Oh, it's probably my stupid settings. Oh, fuck. Well, it's got the microphone right so you can hear me. Okay, so that's alright. I don't know why Linux does these stupid things. You know, it switches my microphone and my... It's like, why did you do that? Oh, it's just so goddamn stupid. What you have to put up with. It's goddamn frickin', you know, defective functions.
Those pictures even.
So
because it
Donald,
should be that obvious.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Donald Bruns, who did the 2017, and then again did...
So he's talking about the amateur with his 3.5 inch or whatever it was telescope. I mean, this is really not... This isn't the example of how you do it right.
To right now in live time, you know, become up to date on the different measurements that have been done. So I sent it to you in our chat.
I'm up to date. I am.
Yeah, it's just, you know, he's so patronizing and obnoxious. Okay, so he, like I said, it really does matter that the paper have actual details in it that you can actually examine. It really means absolutely nothing for some scientist to say, we did it. That's garbage. That's why it needs to be in peer review, where somebody said, show me.
I have researched it. I did go to the trouble to read Eddington's journal. I did do these things, and I'm just saying that there's theoretically a lot of problems.
So you people are just so duplicitous, right? Because if anybody, if somebody on my side did an experiment where they admitted in their little secret journal that, yeah, I got 10% of the data quality, terrible weather, terrible data, it all sucks, and they said I wouldn't stake my life on these results, you would take the experiment seriously. No, I don't think you would, hypocrites.
With those images. I'll just say to you, let me just have 1 minute. 1 minute. So I'm just going to say, look, if you really look at those lensing images from space, just recognize how none of them are good circles. All the geometry is sloppy. It's messy. It's all over the place. The Einstein ring, go look at that.
And the real point is that the ones where they actually image whole galaxies is impossible. Einstein knew it was impossible. It's impossible to image whole galaxies because the lens is the wrong shape. If you're going to get any light at all, you're going to get it for a tiny amount of space. And so there's only a limited amount of photon that will be bent consistently. And all the rest of the photons will be bent wrong because the lens bends the light more in the center and bends it less on the outside. Exactly the opposite of a magnifying lens. The lens has no focal length. It can't create a focus. If you can't create a focus, you can't produce images.
That image is this, it's a glowing, moving object. It's not even a good circle again. None of that would be possible in gravity strong enough to bend something moving the speed of light, okay? You need a strong gravitational force, and a strong force is going to...
And we never even got to, in any good way. I mean, I was making the point that photons can't move in two directions. Photon can only move the speed of light in one direction. And gravity moves things. It gives them momentum. So you kind of have to argue, how does the photon move? Matter gets momentum. Then that means the light must be moving in two directions. The photon's going this way and you pushed it this way. Photons can't do that. And it would mean that the light traveled faster than the speed of light on the new trajectory. I mean, to me, that's an argument just can't be defeated with this mocking bullshit.
Be a very mathematically precise sphere.
All right. All
right, so that's my video. So he plays my video, so we can skip that, and we're going to skip his response. So my video had, as the image shows, it had the 25 times the fuel, 5 times the velocity. It had the lever in it. It had the car crashes. It had the rolling object. It had the ballistic pendulum. And it had the scale where they claim twice the weight is 4 times the energy. So it had all those physical experiments, and he responded with this crap. The same old shitty derivation where he creates a squared velocity by saying per second when it's 1 second times 1 second. It's not seconds squared. And he went on and on and on. Yeah, okay. So way over the 5 minutes, by the way.
But I will simply cite all of the rockets going to space.
Okay, so somehow all the rockets going to space. He kept saying this, that somehow the rockets going to space proves kinetic energy, and it doesn't in any way. All you do is make up a different number for the fuel. So if I calculate the fuel based on momentum, the momentum figures will say the fuel has 7,964 newtons of energy in it. And if I do it with mv squared, it'll say it has 3,670 joules or something. It's absolutely nonsense. It doesn't have any of that energy, okay? And it's just the bullet and the recoiling gun just all over again. The only thing that matters is the momentum.
Support for that being correct. Okay. So that's,
I'd say that's ludicrous. Obviously, there's nothing in the rocket equation about mv squared or kinetic energy. Doesn't discount or disprove momentum in any way. So that has nothing to do with whether or not a NASA engineer knows that the only thing that matters, if I'm in a rocket and I want to turn my spaceship, the only thing that's going to matter is how much mass and what velocity is it moving, and that's all there is. There's no bullet has 2,000 joules kind of theory when you're inside of a rocket. So when you're inside of a rocket, it doesn't matter whether I shoot the bullet out the side of my ship or I let the recoiling gun fly out the side of my ship. Both of them have exactly the same turning power.
So look, it's just an absolute fact. So again, why is this should be over as a conversation, right? There's no counter argument to that argument. Clearly, the bullet is supposed to have 2,000 joules. I'm not going to get 2,000 joules of turning power out of it. Just an absolute fact. I'm just going to get the 2 joules of momentum. Or the 2 newtons, however you want to describe it. Doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't matter. They can be converted into each other. It's just a lie to say they can't, but whatever. The fact is, the momentum will turn. I'll get an equal and opposite reaction to the momentum. I won't get an equal and opposite reaction to the kinetic energy. And it's just an absolute proof that this is nonsense. The kinetic energy doesn't exist. You can't even collect it with a ballistic pendulum. If you used your spaceship and caught the bullet with your spaceship, you still could only collect 1/1000th of the energy. So what's this an argument about? There's no argument. It's a fable.
Okay, that's what NASA knows. NASA landed on the moon in 1969 using momentum. They didn't use kinetic energy theorem to calculate thrust. So I argue, and the second thing I'm going to say, it's just fine. You do your derivative. All I have to say to get the Nobel Prize is it's 9.8 meters per 1 second. Okay, 1 second, not seconds. It's 9.8 per 1 second. 1 second times 1 second is not second squared. 1 second times 1 second is 1 second.
So I think his Nobel Prize crap was in here where he was telling the Nobel, you'll get the Nobel Prize if you can do this. So yeah, let me play that because that was kind of priceless.
kinetic energy. There you go. So that's the change in kinetic energy. I hope you can read this. Is this coming out well? This is a P1000 that I'm using, by the way.
So he's selling some kind of webcam.
Oh, anyway, the definition of work.
So he gave me definitions that obviously I'm disputing. So what point is it? I mean, obviously I don't believe that is the definition of work.
Is force times distance.
And that's force times time.
Right, equals FD. Right, that's the definition. So we don't get to choose whether or not this is the definition of.
Okay, so it's like saying I don't get to choose the definition of the Holy Ghost or some biblical bullshit. The God says so. The 10 Commandments. I can't. Oh, if they're commandments, I can't dispute them. I can't refute them. I can't say they're wrong. That's the definition of how you get to heaven. It's the absolute definition. I mean, it's just a religion. This isn't a rational definition. They don't prove it with evidence. They don't do an experiment and prove it to be true. Whatever even force times distance is, what does force times distance mean when a hunk of dynamite explodes and a bullet flies out one way and the gun recoils the other way? What does distance have to do with anything? Did anybody measure any fucking distances? Of course not. It's just absolute crap.
Work, that's what it is. So now, going back to those prerequisites that I spoke of, if we take, we're gonna work on this FD here, right? The second law of motion is what? F equals ma. So we're going to replace F in here. So
let's understand Newton didn't say it, okay? Newton didn't believe in mv squared. Newton didn't think acceleration was per second. So it's all bullshit lies, okay? Slandering Isaac Newton.
Is now MAD. Work is mad. But these are just multiplied by each other. Then we bring in the basic kinematics because we're going to swap in D here. So we've got, remember, distance is the average velocity times time, right?
So this is how he proves the law of the lever is wrong, and we shouldn't be fooled by the law of the lever because it lies to us.
So now we've got work equals MAVT. So now, what is, that's a T, not a plus. Right. Now what is average velocity? We need to bring that in. Average velocity is V final
I thought he was
over
going to
time.
get to the Nobel Prize stuff.
When this is assuming that it's, we're starting at rest.
Let's see. Somewhere in here we have to have
Right,
a Nobel
time.
Prize line.
The rocket equation.
Hold on, but the audience doesn't. So just a second
So
here.
he's doing the silly rocket equation where the rocket gets lighter because it's got fuel. And I said, just use the nuclear example. Use an example where the fuel is so small it's not going to make any fucking difference. So maybe it's here where he does the Nobel Prize thing.
Paper here?
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of prerequisites to what I'm going to do here. We've got the first law of motion here is you have an object moving. If you apply no force, the starting velocity and the ending velocity are the same. That's the first law of motion. Object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by force, like friction, for example. If there's no friction, then it continues moving. You've got the second law of motion. If you've got the object there, your V naught, V final, your velocity.
That's the whole one being argued, by the way. You can't cancel momentum and you can't cancel energy. Ever.
Velocity is growing, so you have a larger velocity. You apply a constant force, you have F equals ma. That's the second law of motion. Then to calculate average velocity with a constant force, right? Average velocity V bar there is your initial V naught plus your V final over 2. Now if V naught...
As he says you. Anyway, yeah, and obviously those are in per 1 second units. Per 1 second. 20 miles per 1 hour. 20 meters per 1 second. Not seconds. You don't multiply the units times the units. You multiply the 1 times the 1.
Naught is 0, then it's just V final over 2. That's how you get your average velocity when there's a constant force. All right. Got distance traveled is average velocity times time. D equals V average times time. That's basic kinematics. And then we've got acceleration is a change in velocity over time. Right there, A equals VF over T. And that's the definition of acceleration.
Right, and if you left it that way, everything would be just fine. If you said the T is going to be in 1 second units. 1 second. Not any number of seconds. 1 second.
So now we have the prerequisites out of the way. I think a lot of people might wonder, well, what is the work energy theorem? So now that we've covered the basics, we can actually figure out what is the work energy theorem.
Time out.
So
All right, should be back. Yeah, who knows when this thing started. Well, anyway, he made this whole spiel like, just prove one of these things wrong and you win the Nobel Prize. And yeah, the second law, which converts into Newton's 9.8 meters per 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I think it's provable that you only get 9.8 meters every 1 second. That's all you get. You don't get any seconds squared. You don't get any extra. You just get 9.8 in 1 unit of time, and then 9.8 in the second unit of time, and then 9.8 in the third unit of time as an increase in your velocity, and that's all you get.
doesn't discount or disprove momentum in any way. So that has nothing to do with whether or not a NASA engineer knows that the only thing that matters, if I'm in a rocket and I want to turn my spaceship, the only thing that's going to matter is how much mass and what velocity is it moving, and that's all there is. There's no bullet has 2,000 joules kind of theory when you're inside of a rocket. So when you're inside of a rocket,
So it's an undeniable argument. I've made it so many times, and it just amazes me that these lying scum can't admit, well, yeah, that's absolutely true. Kinetic energy doesn't work moving a spaceship. You can't move a spaceship with kinetic energy. It won't work. You can shove 2,000 joules of kinetic energy out one side and 2 joules of kinetic energy out the other side, and the fact is your ship won't change where it's going if the momentums are the same. Momentum will push the ship. Momentum has the energy. I just can't believe these lying scum won't concede that basic fact of how the physics works. Momentum moves things. Kinetic energy is a delusion. It doesn't do any work.
doesn't matter whether I shoot the bullet out the side of my ship or I let the recoiling gun fly out the side of my ship. Both of them have exactly the same turning power. Okay, that's what NASA knows. NASA landed on the moon in 1969 using momentum. They didn't use kinetic energy theorem to calculate thrust.
It's too bad the audio is not very good, but whatever. StreamYard.
So I argue, and the second thing I'm going to say, it's just fine. You do your derivative. If all I have to say to get the Nobel Prize is it's 9.8 meters per 1 second. Okay, 1 second, not seconds. It's 9.8 per 1 second. 1 second times 1 second is not second squared. 1 second times 1 second is 1 second. It is not second squared. So I won the Nobel Prize because I pointed out that gravity is 9.8 meters per a single 1 second. Every 1 second you get 9.8. You do not get any squared amounts of 9.8. You just get 1 second worth.
But it's compounded. That's
it's compounded. There's no, yeah. The second, it's compounded. You get 9.8. You didn't get 9.8 squared. You just got 9.8. You're only going 19.6. So you fell 4 times the distance. You're only going twice the velocity. You only got 2 units of push. That's all you got. 2 units, not 4 units. 2. I mean, fuck, goddamn, how can these people be this dishonest?
That's why it's squared.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen. MGT works perfectly. It doesn't matter whether a meteor is flying into Earth, MGT gets you the right answer. MGH gets you the wrong answer.
So I've made this point so many times. If I shoot a bullet at the Earth, I go up 3 miles high and I shoot a bullet at the Earth, the bullet's going to be going faster than the gravitational force could have pushed it. It's going to only spend a fraction of a second in the gravity. It's not going to increase its velocity at all. I mean, barely anything. It's 2,000, let's say it was going 5,000 meters per second. It's going to go 5,000.4 meters per second. Gravity will add nothing. So even though it went 3 units of distance, 3 miles worth of distance, how many meters is that? A huge number of meters of distance. All right, it will not collect any extra velocity. It won't collect whatever that would be, 70 or 100 units of gravitational force. It won't happen. It doesn't happen. MGH only works if you're talking about a stationary object that you let go. If it's any other circumstance, it fails. That's the fact. Again, and these liars won't admit that simple truth.
Sir, okay? You can't give things velocities when it's going faster than gravity.
Gravity doesn't have a speed. It's
amazing. Jesus, gravity doesn't have a speed except for the speed it gives the object, the velocity. It's a standard, no matter whether it's an atom, a feather, or a hammer. It's going to move the same speed in 1 second. I mean, fuck, amazing. Gravity doesn't have a speed. Oh, fuck.
It's an acceleration.
Again, it's more nonsense. Yes, and what is an acceleration? A change in your velocity. What is an acceleration? It's a change in your velocity. That's all it is. It's not some special thing. It's a piece of velocity. It's either you add velocity or you subtract velocity. It's a velocity. Acceleration is nothing more than a velocity change. Shit.
Doesn't matter. Okay, it has a speed that's going to give the object. Okay, it's going to give the object 9.8 meters per 1 second, not 9.8 meters per 1 mile.
But the
okay?
but the next second it gives it more.
So it gives it more. It gives it 1 unit, 9.8 unit, 1. So it gave it in 4 times the distance. It only gave it 2 units of gravity, 2 units of push. That's all it got. 2, not 4 units. 2 units. God, they're so goddamn stupid. And this glib fuck, he's just, laughing boy. The
point is
it's compounding.
Okay.
It's compounding. He keeps saying the same crap over and over again. The velocity is compounding, not the acceleration. Dumbass. The acceleration is in 9.8 units per second. It's never anything else. It's always just those 9.8 units per second. All right? There's no compounding or anything. The velocity is the part that is increasing, and that's the part you're getting for free. Once you have the velocity, you don't need any more force to maintain it. So all I have to do is go, I have 1 unit of velocity, I get my 9.8 meters per second, and automatically I'll go those 3 units of distance for the rest of the voyage. So without any more pushing from gravity, I'm going to go 3 units of distance because I'm going 9.8. Well, it's 2 units if I add no more gravity.
Just let me ask the question. Do you think MGH works when you have an object moving towards the Earth?
MGH.
It already has a velocity.
Well, he doesn't know what MGH is. Yeah, God damn.
MGH.
I mean,
H being the height?
Yeah, duh. So he wrote all those formulas, and somewhere he missed the MGH one. So, God. All right, I probably just should end there. All right, so 1 hour and 10 minutes in. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Well, I just copy it. Yeah. All right. But goddamn, like fucking idiots. So I'll play this just because you can see I make the arguments. They don't counter anything I'm saying. They just change the subject, constantly changing the subject, never dealing with the subject. Oh fuck. Goddamn pieces of shit. Oh, I mean, I hate the human race for damn good reason. People suck. And such. So, till the next time, and such, and so forth, and whatnot. More to come.